You're listening to the Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome aboard. How you doing, Big Dick?
Doing well, brother. Doing well.
It's good to be on board, Big Dick.
Absolutely. It's full steam ahead right now.
I gotta tell you, bro, it's good to be here with you tonight, Big Dick. You're a great man, you're a gentleman, and you're a class act.
What about Scholar? I'm also a Scholar as well.
Well, you know what, man? We came off a weekend with a 20-horse field in the Kentucky Derby. There's a new champion of the Kentucky Derby, like there is every year. It's very exciting. This is the Derby edition, a little post-Derby action.
You know what I saw this weekend?
What?
I saw a bunch of American Pharaoh imposters.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Were you at the Derby by any chance?
I was not, unfortunately.
You're usually at these. Well,
I know, I've been slacking these last couple of years.
I gotta tell you something. I think people are gonna be really surprised about what I have to say. I watched last week's Raw. I watched this week's Raw. I am not happy with what I'm saying. How about that?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say the same thing. The biggest thing that I absolutely hated, and this is something that we've seen before, and it's killed wrestlers in the past, is Finn Balor. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the crowd was hot for him because it was Europe, and he's still sort of new. What's that?
Hornswoggle?
Yeah, Cody Rhodes.
No, he literally looks like Hornswoggle. Finn Balor is starting to remind me of Hornswoggle.
No, but the biggest problem is with him, like, he was going on like right at the beginning of the show. Like, he ended up having a match pretty early on. Why does he not come out with like his full like makeup and gear on?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
that was like the coolest fucking entrance. And I remember one of the first times I really said, "Holy shit, this is cool," was an NXT show in London where he literally had like the fucking the London Tower or something on his back painted up. And I'm like, holy shit, this dude's fucking pretty badass. So I don't know if they left the paint guy in NXT or what, but I mean, like, it wouldn't have been that hard to do tonight. It's not like he came out and did a promo or anything like that. Like, he had his entrance, and it just wasn't nearly as fucking cool without that. And I think we've seen the same thing. Like, people, like, got super over with, what's his name? Like Adam Rose. Like, cause, he had the cool entrance when all the guys come with him. In WWE, they basically made that go away very quickly. And I think the same thing with, what's his name?
I'm just not sure why things don't translate to WWE TV from the NXT, but Finn looks great out there, but he doesn't look like a superstar to me. And that's disappointing to say. Maybe we need the Demon Balor. Maybe that's what's missing. But, I'm not seeing it out of him right now. He's definitely a solid performer, but maybe he's being booked correctly in the Intercontinental realm. But I gotta tell you, man, not having a world champion to have on TV, as much as I love Brock Lesnar, it is killing Raw not having a title. I mean, it is just killing Raw. Dean Ambrose is trying to do all he can do, but he's carrying around the secondary title. It's very poor, and I mean, you need the champion. I'm glad Braun Strowman called him out tonight, but that being Brock Lesnar. But I mean, there's a lot. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. So we start the show with Miz and Balor trying to stake their claim to the Intercontinental title, and we have Strowman comes out and cuts them off. And basically, he's like, I don't really care about you guys. I want Roman Reigns. I want to.
Whatever. You said Balor. It was Miz and Dean Ambrose, and they're both co-GMs.
Right. Sorry about that.
Which was sort of tacky.
Whatever. It's not my point. My point is, Braun Strowman came out and called for Lesnar after he's done Roman Reigns. Now, I love this because now what we're doing for the first time in weeks is we're actually talking about the WWE title. You see how unforgettable this Raw is? I sat through 3 hours of this crap, and I don't even remember who was in the first segment. Like, I actually watched the whole freaking thing. And I do remember from the first segment, Strowman calling out Brock Lesnar. And then what I don't understand, why is Kalisto coming down the ramp and calling out Braun Strowman? The problem with the current set of WWE writers and the problem with the fans of WWE today is they like these little guys like Kalisto because they're like, oh man, I could be like Kalisto and I could take out a guy like Braun Strowman. No, you could not. And you cannot. And Braun Strowman cannot take out Kalisto. Or Kalisto cannot take out Braun Strowman. It is ridiculous that Kalisto, who's 4'7" and 95 pounds, would come out and call out Braun Strowman. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, he should sort of be thankful that he's absolutely alive right now. And you know what? If it wasn't Kalisto and they didn't have the draft, it would be Sami Zayn, who would have done the same thing. And Sami Zayn, you know what? That's a little bit more realistic. But Kalisto, no.
But for 3 years,
you're not Rey Mysterio.
You have not heard me go after Raw like this in 3 years. You just haven't. And I at my breaking point, watching this shit, and Kalisto calling out Braun Strowman. Like, finally, like, I hated Braun Strowman, okay? And then he went on this epic tear, and I'm like, I'm all in. I'm all in. And you're booking him against Kalisto. Why? Why? Kalisto is not money. He will never be money. Strowman.
Yeah, Kalisto barely gets to be on pay-per-views. And he really shouldn't. There's no reason he should be.
I gotta say, the Roman Reigns Strowman thing, when they interact and they fight, that shit looks intense, man. They got good stuff. I like what I'm seeing when they're out there, man. They tell a story out there, those two.
Yeah.
Like, even tonight, when they finally got it on, when Roman jumped Strowman, that was some good TV, man.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
They're the only two things that are working, bro. I'm not feeling the whole Intercontinental title thing. I'm not with the whole.
No, I mean, you know what? It could be cool. And last week's pay-per-view main event, I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought, hey, you know what? That's going to lead to like a couple new feuds. But then, like, where do you go? Like, I thought, like, okay, you know, Wyatt, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Why this week? Why didn't Finn Balor come out during a main event this week and interfere with Bray Wyatt? Whether it be after the match.
Why didn't he even interfere? Is he afraid of him?
Yeah. Or, I mean, not even, the thing is, he doesn't even need to necessarily get involved. He can literally just have his music start playing. And be like, okay, you know what? Hey, I interviewed the match, and now we have a confrontation next week. But there was none of that. That was the thing that was disappointing to me.
Where was Kurt Angle?
I don't freaking know. Like, that's another thing. I mean, I feel like you have a GM, and he's not on the show. I mean, I don't know if he was on the show last week or what the hell the deal is, but I mean, putting two wrestlers, I mean, that's just lazy booking, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. It was not too, it was not a good show. I mean, it's easy to say it wasn't a good show this week, and I don't think last week was great either, and that's the reason that people watch SmackDown.
Well, you know what, man? The whole Intercontinental thing, I'm just not super interested. I know it's going to culminate with The Miz taking on Dean Ambrose in Newark on Monday night next week. You know what? I like Dean Ambrose, but I guess
he cannot hold and cannot be the flagship of a brand. He's a fun wrestler to root for, and he's a decent worker. He's not a great worker, but he's a decent worker. He can put on 10-15 minute match, but he's not going to sell out the arena.
Yeah, I think he's just made for the chase. You know, I agree with you. He's not. I mean, he's good. He's very good, but he's not, to me, a superstar. And, you know, Miz, to me, he's got that, especially when he's with Maurice. You know, I'm okay with Miz having another title reign, because he's interesting, at least.
Yeah, but the problem is you have to build up a feud with him and Strowman.
Yeah.
Or not him and Strowman, him and Lesnar, and Lesnar's not on TV.
You know, the one thing that makes me happy through all this, and, you know, the Marks have gotten what they wanted. They have, you know, they have, you know, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and Sami Zayn at the top of the card, Kevin Owens on the other show. Have you listened to Castrating the Marks?
You know what? I still haven't, man. I'm slacking. Yeah. I know I've told you I was going to for like last month. I have not.
Russo gets more over the top every week. And one of my favorite things.
Is this a new podcast?
He's on his 4th week, and it is hysterical. And one of the things he does is he calls James Ellsworth James Codwell, and he knows his name's Ellsworth, but he just keeps calling him Codwell. And he just keeps talking about how all the Marks love Codwell because Codwell is just like them, and they feel like that they all have a chance to one day be a wrestler because Codwell's there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Same thing with like Daniel Bryan and Finn Balor. I mean, people they don't want people. I mean, with the exception of Lesnar, even they don't want people who are fucking superheroes. They don't want Batista. They don't want fucking
except Lesnar. I don't know why they do. I love that they do, but I'm surprised he's accepted.
You know, I think the only reason he's accepted is because he's like a novelty act, and he comes around once every 3 months.
I also think he's a legit UFC champion, and there is no way you even on a show like WWE that you can overlook that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't gloss over. He's basically either in a championship or in a main event style match. He's on 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. Yep. He's in the main event on each of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, we'll see what happens with The Miz, but we know
they're not too worried about him they're not putting him in gimmick matches with Sable versus Miz and Maurice or versus John Cena and whatever. They're not wasting his appearances. He is legit.
I want more Maurice on TV.
You know what? She is a good ballet. And apparently she's supposed to start wrestling now.
We need more. We need more.
Is Ruru still on Raw, or did he get dropped into SmackDown?
Ruru's on SmackDown, which is good.
Okay. Not for Raw.
I'm trying to think of, so we have Lesnar off TV till Great Balls of Fire, where he's going to defend the title. Hopefully it's Braun Strowman, man, against Brock Lesnar. That would be awesome. I want to see somebody new. He's already faced Roman Reigns, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I think that Strowman, as much as people didn't want to put him over and didn't want to root for him because Vince McMahon wanted it, I think he's done a good job of getting over. Sort of like what they were looking to do with Baron Corbin.
Well,
but he gets a reaction as like a legitimate badass.
What do you think of the tag team turmoil tonight with Cesaro and Sheamus running the gauntlet as heels, literally running through all 4 opposing teams of Rhino and Heath Slater and Enzo and Cass and beating the Club and Golden Truth?
It is what it is. They're probably the best tag team on Raw, parties withstanding. So, it makes sense that they're going to continue. So, what did they beat every single team? Does that mean that they?
Yeah, well, so the winner of the turmoil. It all started because Goldust and R-Truth wanted the title match last week, and I really liked their backstage segment where Goldust was like, I know what you're capable of. I know what I'm capable of. We've won titles all around the globe. Let's show people like we have one run left in us. Very, very effective skit. I actually thought it was a good chance to win. But when they came out last, I knew they weren't going to win. But I actually thought a little differently. So what I thought was going to happen was that Sheamus and Cesaro start off. They beat Enzo and Cass. They then beat Rhino and Heath Slater. Rhino never gets in the ring. But the third, not the last team, which is the 4th team, but the third team to come out was the Club, that being Anderson and Gallows. And I thought to myself, Anderson and Gallows aren't going to lose here. I thought Anderson and Gallows were going to take out Sheamus and Cesaro because they just went through 2 other teams, and then R-Truth and Goldust would shock the world, but it didn't happen. I was really surprised to see Sheamus and Cesaro run through the whole division there.
Well, you know what? I'm not because I feel like the feud.
They're great.
It's not really over.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think the 4 of them are one of the more interesting things on TV. So I'm okay with it. I just was surprised they ran through everybody.
I think it's good because it helps legitimize them as, hey, you know what? They're as champions, and this is the second best tag team. And then, I mean, third best tag team, I guess, would be the Club. I'm not really sure.
I have to think Sheamus and Cesaro are going to take it. Like in the next time they fight. I mean, they were turned heel. They're not turning them heel to lose. You know, I just think, and the Hardys have been great since they've come back. But I just think
the Hardys don't need titles to legitimize it.
No, they're great, man. And I think the plan for the Hardys is for them to be singles guys anyway. So
really, I don't know about that. I'm hoping that they just replicate what they did in WCW, Broken.
Well, that's TNA, you mean, but that's what we all want, I'm sure.
I say WCW.
Yeah. We need it, man. We need it. I'm trying to think of like tag team. There was no other tag team stuff tonight.
I feel bad for Rhino and Heath Slater. I feel like they're an afterthought on Raw. Like they were legit tag team champions on SmackDown. I don't even know who tag team champions for SmackDown. Is it Usos or is it the American Alpha?
Right now it's Breezango is the number one contender.
Who's the champion now?
Who is the champion on SmackDown? Who is? Oh, the Usos.
Okay. And another question about the match tonight. Where were the Revival? I mean, they came out. They were. I don't think they were on last week's show either. Like, did one of them get hurt or something?
Who?
The Revival.
Dude. What's his face? Dawson broke his jaw.
Oh, are you serious?
8 weeks. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it'd still be something. I'd still like to see something to keep him around or keep him fresh. I mean, even if they interfere with the Club or something, and in a match, just have Wilder come out, interfere, just to keep them in the mind of people. Because hey, you know what? They're not wrestling to the next pay per view, but they can wrestle. They can wrestle the pay per view after that. They have a feud going. Just because I think that I was like after WrestleMania when they came out, like they were legitimate, probably the second most loved tag team, even though they're badasses and supposed to be heels. I mean, think about it. Like they came out and it was like basically almost a Hardy reaction to them.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I feel like you need to keep them. I mean, that's why I feel bad for like Rhino and Heath Slater. I mean, they went from being like tag team champions 4 months ago to, I mean, they're like basically fighting Goldust and R-Truth to see who's the easiest pushover out of like 6 Raw tag teams.
Right. Well, I don't know.
I mean, the New Day. I don't even think the New Day do anything on SmackDown really.
I agree with tag team titles and the women's titles. There should be one set. Divisions of 6 are terrible.
Yeah, because I mean, unfortunately, with the 6, you have teams like Breezango, who they get their title shots every once in a while. Because it's not even 6; it's probably like
it's just a circle keeps going around. Everybody's gonna be champ.
Yeah,
but you got to remind yourself, as castrating the marks has taught me, is this is a TV show, and we have to suspend reality now, just accept whatever they do because there's no records. It's just a show every week. It's a different thought what Russo says. I'll tell you the one thing that does make me happy. Alexa Bliss, one of the few bright spots of Raw week after week after week. She's outstanding. Love her.
I like her entrance music too. I don't know why, but I heard it and I'm like, that sounds like some like legit badass music. And I wasn't even sure who it was, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Alexa Bliss. It's pretty cool.
You know what I like? That she's like super hot.
Yeah. I don't know. She's no Mickie James. I
think she's way hotter than Mickie James. Are you kidding me?
Really? I know Mickie James has some ring rust behind her, but I don't know. She's only like what, 4'11" or something. Bliss.
Yeah, she's 5 feet of fury, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I go for a little bit taller, a little bit more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Alexa Bliss is actually thick, but
Alexa Bliss has got it going on, man. There is nobody hotter than Alexa Bliss. Are you kidding me?
What about Charlotte? Have you seen the nudes?
I did. She's pretty reffed up and jacked, but I'm still an Alexa Bliss guy.
Wow, I haven't seen the nude photos. Were they like legit like off her cell phone, like something she was sending her boyfriend or something?
I feel bad for her because I saw them, and I don't know. She must have got a boob job or something, and her boobs are like a little lopsided. And who cares? She's still super hot. And all these stupid asses in the comment sections are like saying all these horrible things about her, and it's like, dude, are you kidding me? This woman's in like perfect shape, and this is the kind of stuff that it's like why our society is like just falling apart. Like if you don't think Charlotte's hot, or you don't think I'm sorry, I don't. It's some fat ass slob male who's behind his computer that like hasn't worked out a day in his life. Like, shut up, bro. Just shut up.
And who loves Bailey? They're like, oh, Bailey's so natural.
She's gonna hug her. Like, you're a loser, bro. Charlotte's awesome, and she's hot, and they're all hot. Every freaking one of these divas is hot, man. Are you kidding me?
And I mean, Charlotte's literally doing like fucking flips and splits and shit going into the ring.
Dude, outside of Nia Jax, who is not hot on the WWE roster? They all are.
Exactly.
No, they really are. Like, all of them. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's what it should be.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but I'm saying all these dipshits, it's very disheartening. Very disheartening.
You know what? That's because these are the same people who think that they have the shot to be a champion because of James Ellsworth.
Ellsworth.
Yeah.
You mean Codwell?
Yes, Codwell. Mr. Codwell.
Yeah, because they see Codwell. They're like, well, if Codwell's in there, well, then I got a chance. Because Codwell's...
Yeah, I'm not as atrocious as him in every single way. And I'm almost as in shape as him in some ways.
If Codwell's in there, then I gotta be out there.
Yeah, I have a legit shot. All I need to do is go to wrestling school and come across nude pictures of Vince and Stephanie McMahon to blackmail them.
I'm telling you, with all these little dudes out there, everybody now thinks they could be a wrestler.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like the Sami Zayn / Daniel Bryan /
with Codwell.
Or Codwell.
And you know what he calls Jinder Mahal?
What's that? Steroids?
Ginger Mahal.
I don't know why I find that funny.
It has no meaning. He's like, these guys, they get on the internet and they have a problem with Ginger Mahal. I got no problem with Ginger Mahal. The guy looks like money. He is money. He loves Ginger Mahal. It's funny. I listen, to me, if Jinder Mahal came in brand new and I had never seen him before, I would have no issue with Jinder Mahal being a top guy. I mean, he looks like a top guy. He talks like a top guy. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like the way he's carried himself, not even since he got back all jacked, but literally since WrestleMania, like the way he carries himself, it's like a top level heel.
Yeah, but it sucks that he's been so damaged,
Yeah, I mean, he was basically like an afterthought for. Even when he came back all jacked, he was still a jobber.
You know who we need in WWE? The Prince of Wrestling. Remember that guy that played the videos for you guys? The Prince of Wrestling? The guy who was saying how pretty he was and he wanted to take on all those people. Remember the Prince of Wrestling?
Wasn't he like doing like taking shots at like The Rock or doing impersonations of The Rock and shit?
No, that's The Rock JR.
Oh, that's right, The Rock JR.
The Rock JR is awesome, bro. I love The Rock JR. The Rock JR would have been huge, but friggin' WWE ruined it. They wouldn't let the Rock JR ever come out. I don't know. Can you hear this through my screen? I'll play it. I don't think it will work, but can you hear this guy? Hold on, I'll tell you when he starts. Can you hear this?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. I had the Rock JR promo on. We love the Rock JR, man.
I think WWE needs to sign him. Or at least Vince Russo.
The Rock JR left the wrestling business prior to his scheduled debut in Rockland due to personal issues, unfortunately.
Oh, God.
He would have been awesome, bro. WWE saw that promo and was like, you guys air this, we're gonna own your wrestling federation.
Yeah, basically you've taken our most valuable asset and our most valuable announcer and turned it into a fucking joke.
Well, the best part was when the young Rock talked about The Rock Jr., the deaf guy.
It would be funny if they actually called the guy like the Young Rock, but they had his name spelled ROQ.
I would be very interested in The Rock Jr. versus Young Rock. I would watch that. I would be all for it. What else happened tonight that's even worth mentioning? The show was terrible. It was an F. How about that? An F. I don't think there was anything worth... honestly, the only stuff I liked, even Bliss's match was terrible. Alexa Bliss took on Mickie James, and it had that really weird ending because Bayley and Nia Jax got into a fight at ringside. It was actually, I take that back. That match was awful. Just Mickie fell off top rope, just landed awkwardly and was pinned. That was a really weird match. But I like that Bliss won. But there was a good match. I'm not kidding around. I actually liked the backstage segment and the match. The backstage segment with Neville and TJP. And I liked TJP's match with Gallagher. Even though I was pissed Gallagher lost, I actually liked the little storyline with TJP and Neville not going to give him the title shot. I thought the match was quick and it wasn't bad, and Aries came back. I thought that was a good, effective segment. I think everyone except Gallagher, unfortunately, got over in that segment. And that was good. I liked that segment. That was a good segment. So I liked that segment, and I liked the interaction between Strowman and Roman. And that was it. That's the only two parts of the show I liked.
Wow. You know what I actually noticed? I think this was like 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to mention it on Raw Reaction. But it actually had a cruiserweight come out, and I forget who it was. It might have been Aries, but I forget who it was. But they literally had the cruiserweight come out on Raw, and they announced him weighing in at 210 pounds.
That's over the limit.
I know. I'm like, wait a second. Like, Jesus Christ. They lie about, like, every other wrestler, like, being, like, 3 inches taller and make up weights on half of these guys. And they're saying this guy's 5 pounds overweight. Like, why isn't this, like, big fucking news? Like, hey, you know what? Like, they could make a storyline out of it. Like, hey, you know what? TJ Perkins needs to lose 5 pounds. And just have him make a fucking mockumentary about it. Like,
That's
run
so
around in garbage bags. But, like, you know what? They just announce it, and it's like, okay, that doesn't really. I mean, what's the cutoff there? I mean, like, Chris Jericho at 220 wrestle?
Wow.
In that division, so I hope somebody got fired for that. To be honest with you, if it was not part of a storyline, which does not appear to be.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I really was not happy with Raw tonight, and I mean, all the like. Strowman's off TV with an injury, whether it's kayfabe or not, and it might be a legit injury. Brock Lesnar's off TV. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. It's just not good.
Yeah, and know what the scary thing is? Like, right after Raw, I'm like so excited. I'm like, okay, cool. They got all these guys like here. They got all these guys coming up through the ranks. There's no help. There's Bobby Roode.
Yeah, he's gonna be awesome though.
Yeah, he'll be awesome. But number one, when are they calling up? And number two, will he go to SmackDown or or Raw? I think he'll probably end up at Raw just because I feel like they need him to fill in.
Bobby Roode is gonna be awesome on Raw, dude. He's great, man. He is gonna be awesome.
But you know what? I thought the same thing. To be honest with you,
not gonna be.
I'm almost afraid it's gonna be the same thing that seems to be happening with Finn Balor. And the same thing, to be honest with you, I haven't been that impressed with Austin Aries.
Finn Balor came in really good, but then he got injured, man. I think he's still like working out the kinks, man. But Austin Aries was a great TNA wrestler, but he was never on the level of Bobby Roode. So Austin Aries, he's more
he almost seems like he's like the type of guy, like just the way he carries himself, sort of. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he's great on commentary, but like in the ring and stuff, and just watch him move around the ring, it almost feels like he's like fucking like OCD in the way he wrestles. He has like a fucking weird like an extra move or like an extra twitch or whatever, and
Maybe.
I don't know. It's just sort of weird.
I don't know. I think the cruiserweight division should never happen because it's really pigeonholing some of these guys. Like Neville would be a good perennial Intercontinental title, as a heel, especially now. He's great. I mean, that guy's money. He is. Yeah. I thought he was very boring as a face, but man, he's been a heel for a while now, and he still is interesting to me 3 months later than he was. I really like what the cruiserweight division did for Brian Kendrick. He's the one guy that really benefited from this. I don't see why Neville wouldn't be just as over as US or Intercontinental Champion being heel now. I mean, he totally would be. And, say what you will about Aries, I think he would have been fine in the Intercontinental title hunt too, and you need that middle division. The fact that you got all these guys dropping down now to fight the Intercontinental title sucks because, I don't know, man, I think there's money in broken Matt Hardy and just straight up Jeff Hardy, and those guys will help when they go singles. Those guys will help the card majorly.
Wow.
I really hope WWE knows what they have with the Hardys, man. I really do. I mean, they should better than anybody because at one time, they pushed Jeff Hardy as one of the top guys in their company. So I think they do know what's there.
Yeah.
But, cause these guys grew up. They're not getting busted for drugs and stuff now. I mean, these guys are adults. They, Jeff definitely learned his lesson. The stuff that happened with him in TNA, I mean, he basically should have been fired for that. But, it's a different time. These guys are like in their 40s now. These guys are, they get it. This is the last hurrah. So,
you can't go back to the way you look TNA. You can't go back there.
Yeah, right, exactly. But
and you can either wrestle in WWE for a nice paycheck, or you wrestle in the fucking VFW holes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, man. I mean, it's sort of been Raw's been sort of underwhelming these last couple weeks. And you know what? Part of it is even not having Lesnar to come out and cut a segment. Like, not have a match, not get physical, just cut a segment, and then have, like, Braun Strowman come out. Because, you know what? The crowd was for the way the crowd was chanting for that, if he came out during a Lesnar segment and it got face-to-face with him in the ring, and then didn't get physical with him, the crowd would fucking eat that up.
Oh, I would think so.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I feel like, whatever, he gets so much per appearance or whatever, but I mean, shit, like, basically, he's been off the air. I think he was on after WrestleMania, but I mean, he's basically going to be off the air until, like, they start a build up for the Great Balls of Fire, which is in July. Am I right? Or do we have Extreme Rules? Is that SmackDown?
Great Balls of Fire.
What's the next pay-per-view? Is there a one at the end of
SmackDown has Backlash.
What about Extreme Rules? Isn't that usually in June?
No, I think it's Great Balls.
Okay, so they canceled Extreme Rules.
Great Balls.
Dude, I got a great set of balls.
Do you have Great Balls of Fire?
I do. I've been meaning to get that checked out.
Well, I mean, honestly, man, I'll watch whatever shows they have, but I mean, they need to really they need to get it together. Raw is not clicking, and this is the problem with a 3-hour show and a brand split. It's hard to fill 3 hours TV when half your roster's on Tuesday night, man. I mean, it's just...
Yeah. And the thing is, I almost think the wrestlers on SmackDown, they benefit from being consolidated into 2 hours.
I guess, but...
I mean, I think it's because everything's a little bit more concise. You don't have a 15-minute segment to open every show where basically two people are talking and building up a match later in the show. Like, you don't have 15-minute segments with literally conversations and discussions about stuff. Like, there's not time for that in a 2-hour show.
Great Balls of Fire.
I mean, if you think about it, like, think about Raw. Like, I know, I mean, that's one of the problems right now with, especially Raw. They don't have any great talkers. Like, there's no Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no The Rock. There's even no longer a Chris Jericho or Kevin Owens, who I know will open his show and be entertaining as fuck. So if I turn on the show at 8:10, I know I'm gonna not miss. I'm not gonna miss a great opening talk segment on the show. I'm gonna miss Alexa Bliss opening up, or I'm gonna miss the Miz opening. But don't get me wrong, the Miz is great on the mic, but he does not have me. I don't turn on the TV to watch the Miz cut a promo, because if anything, it's for a match later.
You know what they gotta do, dude? The writing's terrible, bro. You wanna know something interesting, dude? You wanna do something cool? Alexa Bliss is so on her game right now. She thinks she's the best thing ever. What they should do is, like, have Brock Lesnar come out, and he'd be like, you know what? I don't come to Raw because these guys are beneath me, and I'll challenge anybody. I don't care who the hell it is. There is nobody that can beat me. And just let's do some interesting TV. Have fucking Alexa Bliss come out and confront Brock Lesnar as if she's going to go take his title. And you could blow up the whole scene. You could have, like, the commissioner run out like, no way we're going to let this happen, and then let her pick a wrestler. Like, you know, that would just be interesting, right? Like, if all of a sudden Alexa Bliss comes out and just fucking, like, on a mission storms to the ring. Like, I think it would be funny.
You know what? That's part of...
It's just interesting.
That's part of the misuse of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, like, you think about it, and I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't realize how fucking great it was, how great Kurt Angle was. Like, you know what, I thought he was good. Yeah. I loved him more as a technical wrestler, like, back then, because he was, don't get me wrong, he was great in the mic for, like, one-liners, but looking back at it, like, looking back at his Hall of Fame, and, like, sort of, like, when they did, like, the tribute video to him and stuff, like, holy shit, like, he's fucking entertaining as hell. Have him start the show. Have him do the first 15 minutes of the show. And I feel like there's almost like, I feel like there was like no direction there, where I think either they needed to literally build up. What's his name fight tonight? Seth Rollins fight.
How could we not even have thought? I was like ready to wrap up. I forgot all about that. Seth Rollins fought Samoa Joe. Like, that's a big money match for them, and we completely forgot it.
That's the thing, though. I mean, it wasn't memorable. That could have been. I feel like I didn't remember how it ended, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was a terrible ending. The referee warned Samoa Joe not to uncover the turnbuckle because he will stop the match, and he goes and uncovers the turnbuckle.
God, yeah. You know what?
And throws him into it.
I would have rather, to be honest with you, I would have rather had. You know what? I guess that's okay, because it's sort of advanced.
You would have rather had Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, you know what? I probably would have. But I mean, I don't understand, like, how at the end of the show with Wyatt and Dean Ambrose in a match, how Finn Balor just isn't brought up. Whether he does a run in, whether his music plays and distracts him and basically costs him the match. Because, hey, you know what? They're gonna build these two. They're gonna build this rivalry up. I'm okay with that rivalry. I was pretty excited when I sort of started this rivalry last week. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is good. Bray Wyatt is great talker. Finn Balor, he's still trying to get his legs under him, but I mean, he has a fucking cool entrance, sort of like the whole demon cult following. Also, like, this could be a very cool rivalry if done right. And they basically let Wyatt punk Finn Balor, and then nothing happened this week.
I don't know why.
Instead, I mean, there's no, even a slow build.
Miz beats Dean Ambrose, and Bray Wyatt beats Dean Ambrose. Miz gets help, and then I'm thinking to myself, like you think, where the hell is Balor? Like, why is he returning the favor from the previous week? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you 115%, bro. It's just bad writing, dude. I don't even know if it's a work or it's just bad writing.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I don't think it is, because I mean, you can't blame.
They just do what they're told to do, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, Finn Balor can be sitting there in a gorilla position, and if they say don't go out, he doesn't go out.
Right.
I mean, he can be like, this writing sucks, and everybody at home's like, this writing sucks. But if they don't tell him to go out and they don't play his music, then
yeah, it's just unfortunate, man. It's just unfortunate, but you know, hopefully it'll turn around. It'll get better. We'll find out. But man, that was really brutal. That was really brutal.
Even if they did, you know what? I wouldn't even mind. Even if they did a segment where literally they had Lesnar and Paul Heyman at 8 o'clock, right when his show opened up, have them come out to the ring completely unannounced. Because I have no priority to turn on Raw at 8 p.m.
Right.
I turn it on at 8:15. I know there's 90% chance that there's not a match happening yet. And it's probably just been whatever's been laid out, and the refs and the announcer's going to talk about it anyway. And there's still probably an opening segment. It's still got probably Miz and Maurice or Dean Ambrose.
Maurice.
Yes. But, have either Brock Lesnar open a show or Kurt Angle open a show. And I'd be okay if Kurt Angle opened every show. As long as he was fucking entertaining.
I want more Maurice.
Maurice Worthy?
No, Maurice, the wrestler.
I see.
She's a great wrestler, Maurice. I like Dave Meltzer. I'm not really worried about John Cena, but, who's seen a good Maurice match? Loser.
I don't know. I think we need to have Vince Russo as a special guest on our podcast.
He's great, man. He is great. I would love to know. And he has no issues with Angry Marks, bro. He has no issues with us.
I think we are cut from a very similar mold, because some of the things that you said, we've definitely said before.
Well, yeah, he has no issues with anybody on our station.
He's a friend of the show.
No, he is, though, because he's made it clear that to him, the only people he has an issue with are the dirt sheet writers that make stuff up without sources. None of our shows speculate on any rumors. They're all recap shows. All of them. Even Thursday Night AMP, which is one of our most comprehensive shows, they literally go through everything going on in the wrestling world on all the different shows. They talk about all the different shows, but they're not saying, well, we've heard, inside information. Like, we don't do that. We just talk about what we want to say as fans, and we talk about the shows as fans. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. But some of these other guys, they're literally speaking for things that never happen. And it's horrible.
Hey, you know what? The Midnight Express versus the Hardys is my dream matchup. You know what? We talk about, like, hey, you know what? Robert Roode, he's going to be badass when he gets called up.
Dream match. I like the guy that's like, well, maybe, SmackDown trades the rights to an Undertaker for a pick to be named later. Like, that was, maybe they trade him. You fucking idiot. Yeah, maybe we trade him. Maybe we trade the Undertaker. It's awesome.
It's like, this isn't baseball or football or...
Maybe we trade him.
Yeah, for a wrestler who's quit, pretty much. Like, that's a good idea to trade him.
Yeah,
we can get back to Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn.
The door's still open. If that wasn't a retirement, I don't know what was. But anyway, good stuff. Good show tonight. Hopefully it'll get better. But, I personally, I'll be watching SmackDown, and, I want to see a little...
Unfortunately, man, I have to say something. You said good show tonight, whatever. Unfortunately, you were talking about good show with us, because neither of us have fell asleep, and we were present.
No, honestly, I didn't fall asleep on this show, because I was so upset by what I watched on Raw that it made... And I really hope for anybody that gets a hold of our podcast, they're not a first-time listener, like tonight, because they would be like, "What? This sucks. All these guys do is shit on Raw." We don't. We never do. We never shit on Raw.
We give them a lot of leeway. This is pretty bad.
Man. I think it was last week. I literally felt like last week, and I'll just, we can wrap up with this, but I honestly felt like when they put Ambrose, Miz, and Balor in that position, I could see like they were having a hard time going out there and delivering their lines, because it's like you're telling Dean Ambrose to say basically his title is more important, and if the other champion's not going to be there, well, I will. And then the other guys were actually there for like a world title shot, but the world champion's nowhere to be found, but he's not stripped of the title. Like, what is that? It's stupid. It's stupid. And then And I mean, jeez.
I mean, if anything, Dean's segment should lead him into being, should have led him into being the number one contender. Sort of like when, what's his name, CM Punk called out whoever the champion was, he didn't wrestle all the time, John Cena or whatever.
Right.
Like similar way he called him out. It's almost like Dean Ambrose called out Lesnar, and then it's like, but hey, you know what? This is the best title. So basically, everybody who thinks they should have a title shot.
We're so far removed from CM Punk leaving with the belt, nowhere to be found, and then shows up after supposedly like leaving wrestling, and shows up with a title after a new champion's crown. I mean, how cool of a moment was that?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's the unpredictableness that I don't feel like there is.
Well, that's what, like, I honestly, like, you see what we lost with Goldberg? Goldberg kept it interesting. That was one character. One guy. I mean, Goldberg was fucking awesome, dude. Goldberg lit wrestling on fire for a little while. I mean, he was awesome. Goldberg was awesome. And it just goes to show you, look at what's missing without Goldberg. And for what? So we can have I mean, come on, man.
Well, and you know what else the problem is? Raw does not have great talkers. They don't have a John Cena. They don't have...
No, dude. You put Ambrose in that uncomfortable position, and then you put Seth Rollins with a live mic thanking the fans. Like, what was that last week? He's so bad on the mic, he should never be near the mic. Rollins is not a main eventer. I'm sorry. He just isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe his heel run, but he's terrible.
Yeah.
By the way, what is a fidget spinner that everybody keeps talking about? What is that?
It's a little thing. Kev, you probably tell. I actually saw one at the store and I was bought it. It was like $7. It's like something. It's like, I think it's like it's like 3 like bowls on like bear bearings, and it's sort of like 3-prong thing. And I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it. But basically, you sort of spin it around in your fucking hand. It's just people with like nervous twitches and shit.
So why are people against it?
I don't know. Fucking dude, it's like fucking when we were kids. What were the things that we were against in fucking like middle school, or whatever? Fireworks and fucking baseball cards. Like it was just it's fucking distractions for kids.
Yeah, I've seen some stupid shit in my day. I mean, there were a time where I don't know, we're gonna date ourselves here, where people thought pogs were cool. That's all you need to know. That's how you know the world was about to end.
Yeah. Thank God somehow we have recovered as a country and a society in general
from pogs.
Yes, I don't know. That's sort of fucking unbelievable.
Pogs. Oh man.
Or Pokemon cards. These are make believe creatures.
Well, good stuff, Vic. We appreciate your time tonight. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
You know what? I want to plug Jordan Garber's Snake Pit.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
I do. I think it's the best, aside from Raw Reaction and anything Vince Russo puts on the air, it could possibly be the best podcast or internet wrestling discussion out there, including better than Raw this week at least.
I couldn't agree more. I just want to tell you, if there's one thing I can plug and one show I could plug, it would be Castrating the Marks on Friday nights, Vince Russo. Best.
How many episodes has this run so far? I want to know if I'm going to be able to catch up with this pretty easily.
4, and they're only about an hour each.
Okay, so all right, so this is realistic. I can catch up.
I have listened to all 4 of them, literally, probably like 8 times each.
Wow.
The first one's really good because he goes through the whole theory on why these people are such losers. But I think this week's was pretty good. Last week's, I liked episode 3 because it's where he goes off on Codwell and why all these losers, they think they could be like Codwell. It was just awesome. But they're all good. The second one just wasn't as good as the first. Third and fourth, but he finished the song, which is good too. He added the second verse, and the song's really good. So the song, I know we did the first verse on the air, but the second verse is very funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm not really a podcast listening. I don't listen to our podcast, to be honest with you. But yeah, I feel like I feel like this is going to sort of be an extension, only a bit more legitimate in the wrestling business than our podcast.
Do you want to know the second verse?
Yeah.
So you know the first verse, and we don't want to go through all that again. But the second verse of his Margaritaville song is, Wasting Away in Margaritaville. The second verse starts off with, Marking for Finny, dreaming he's with me. There goes Sammy and he's hailing a cab. Maurice can't wrestle. Huge boobs but can't wrestle. F you, Roman, for being so bad. Wasting away again in Margaritaville. Longing for that fake wrestling news. Some people think that we are really dumb, but we're not. 'Cause we are awesome. Pretty good.
Dude, that's beautiful. That is,
Marking for Finney, dreaming he's with me. That is funny. Cause you know what he said about all different classes of people, and then, hey, there goes Sammy and he's hailing a cab. I mean, the song is great because it's got Sammy in it, it's got Kevin Owens in the first verse, it's got...
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, Kevin Owens the first part, yeah.
Yeah, cause it was, all the wrestlers covered in oil.
Yeah.
And that KOBO is really starting to boil.
Yeah, and I definitely need to, before we get too many episodes in, I feel like I need to listen to the show. I think that's possibly the greatest thing on the air other than us.
Dude, there's the best part is though, Conan has his own show on the Jericho podcast, and Conan and Disco Inferno were talking about it, and Conan was like, man, I wish I would have thought of that show first. I would love to rip apart Meltzer and all those marks. It is so funny. It's just all the fucking bitches hate it, right? So it's all the dirt sheet guys are going against it. Jim Cornette's against it because he's basically the same thing. And then, but all the other guys, all the wrestlers love it. And what the funny part is, in my opinion, you could tell all these guys are really upset about it. Cause if you go in their little pages, he calls the one dirt sheet writer Marble Mouth because he talks like he has marbles in his mouth. It's just it's so funny, dude. He just rips these guys apart. And then he plays the clips where they're trying to sell their reoccurring services, they charge $9.99 a month to use their site. And he actually will play a soundbite of their sales pitch and then rip apart their service and their sales pitch. It's just so funny, man.
That's fucking awesome. And I'm guessing that there's no monthly service potential for Vince Russo.
He does. So he doesn't charge though. If you want to play his podcast, it's $2.99 and he'll never charge for them. But if you want to get them a day early,
I have to pay for his podcast.
What's that?
I have to pay to listen to his podcast?
No, they're free.
But okay.
If you pay $2.99 a month, he will give you the podcast a day early, and then on all of his shows, he lets the audience write questions in or go into a chat room and ask questions, kind of like we used to do here. We changed our format, but you used to come on Raw Reaction, and there'd be a ton of questions we could read. And yeah, he uses that format now. He basically uses the format. Now, I'm not saying he copied off us, but it is the format we use. But what he does, he shuts down the show on the podcast at the 55 or 60 minute mark, and then the people who are paying subscribers can stay on, and he'll do another 10 minutes of whatever show he's on, and they can ask him questions, which is kind of cool. So, and then you can watch on YouTube or whatever. He has a streaming service. So, that's what you get for $2.99 a month. So,
that's not terrible. If you're, now I need to ask, are you a paid subscriber?
I'm not, but can I tell you something? I hope he never listens to the show. But if for some reason he put Castrating the Marks on subscribe, I'd pay. But here's what he does though, which I don't like. he puts one thing he did with shows 3 and 4, he put an additional castration only for subscribers. So he did like one other person, like one other piece of content that.
What if it was us? What if it was us?
Dude, I'm afraid it could be us one week, but I don't think it would be, because even if somebody got a hold of us, he basically researches you to see if you are like, making money off it, or a dirt sheet, like, or projecting, or saying you're in the know in some way. But we have never spoke like we know something.
We've never spoken on behalf of WWE or given any inside information.
Like, dude, he literally got on the week before the draft. He's like, well, AJ Styles, we know he's already on Raw. That's been in the books for months. Like, dude, really? Like, come on, dude. And he's wrong. Like, it's just terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. He probably listened to the show. He was like, we're probably researched our show. He's like, it's like these guys do a show every other week, and
stupid. If we said something really stupid, like the guy would, like, one of the fans was like, well, WWE can't deliver their product right now. It's such a great time in wrestling because I could watch PCW, IPW, or IFW, or New Japan. I mean, I have all these different options, and it's like, dude, just shut up. Nobody's watching any of those shows. What was funny though is, how maybe this will get us heat here at our station. All these guys mark out for New Japan Pro Wrestling because they want to be like, in the know and be like, cool marks. Well, New Japan Pro Wrestling in America, they went to get, because Dave Meltzer said that New Japan Pro Wrestling is catching on in the United States and does great ratings and is selling a ton of product. So what Russo did is his guy went and tried to get television ratings for all the markets New Japan Pro Wrestling is in. And the ratings are so low that there's no rating for it. Like, it's too low to be rating.
So there's like 5,000 people who watch New Japan.
Not much. Like 8 people from our network pay $9.99 a month to get the New Japan Pro Wrestling stream, and then they talk about it for the other 7 people who are interested on it on Thursday nights. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Who's watching that? I mean, I know Raw hasn't been great, but SmackDown's still solid. But I mean, dude, it's just like, that's when it's just time to go on to other things other than wrestling. You watch other things, like other sports, or
following NHL or horse racing.
I'm trying not to turn this into castrating the Marks Jr. So you got me going down that path, because I'm starting to sound exactly like them. But they make great points, man. I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. That's my plug. I think we just gave them a 10-minute plug.
And you know what? The funny thing is, either it's not going to make the air, or it will, and Vince Russo is going to fucking tear us a new asshole for jerking him off.
I will tell you, he probably wouldn't appreciate. I'll tell you, like, listening to his show, he would not be happy that I sang his theme song 2 weeks in a row. I don't think he would appreciate.
No, that's not true. You didn't sing it last week.
That's true. But I think he would view it like he's such a egomaniac. So I'm taking a shot at him. I think he's such an egomaniac that he would think that the reason we're singing the song is to, like, be cool and try and get viewers, when really we just, like, not you, but me, I really like the song. I think it's funny as shit. I think it's like the funniest thing I've ever heard ever. And I have been singing the song. I can't tell you how many times I'm driving my car and I'm just like, marking for Finney, dreaming he's with me, or all the wrestlers covered in oil, strumming my Johnson, don't care if it's a sin, that K.O.B. was really starting to boil. How can you not think that's funny? How can you not want to sing that? I just love it.
It is definitely catchy. It is catchy.
Nibbling on fast food.
If you're listening, this is Angry's Hensai's thoughts and opinions on everything.
Nibbling on fast food, acting like a damn fool. It's so funny, man. I like the part where he's like using the repeat. He goes, where he goes, Maurice can't wrestle, is because that one guy was like, I'm really concerned at WrestleMania about Maurice being in this match. I mean, Whoever remembers a good Maurice match? Like, dude, like she's so hot and she doesn't need to have a good match.
Exactly. Like, come on. It's like, do you think Nikki Bella has any fucking wrestling skills? Maybe a little bit, but
Maurice
she has big.
Can't wrestle. Huge boobs, but can't wrestle. So funny, man. It's so funny, man. You got it, dude. You gotta listen. If you do any type of road trip, download these, play them. I'll give another plug for another podcast. There's one on the Jericho News Network or Jericho Podcast Network on Podcast One. It's called it's Lance Storm. What do they call it? Lance Storm and Don Cyrus do it. It's called like Running Down the Town or Running the Town. It's really cool because basically what Cyrus and Jericho or Storm do is Lance Storm and him they talk about like their Storm's ECW run and his interactions with Cyrus, and they're really good, man. And I think Storm and Cyrus have been on our network, so I think they've both been interviewed here. I'm pretty sure they have. I know Lance Storm has, but we've had DDP, we've had some really good people, but regardless, it's good stuff, real good stuff. Huge
man.
That's all.
It's fucking awesome.
So hey, Killer Kev, we're about to close it down. Anything else you want to plug, or did we get a little too much castrating the marks?
I think we've plugged everything we need to plug tonight, so let's wrap it up.
I'm gonna plug Killer Kev. Not that sort of way, Kev. I just want to plug Killer Kev. Best in the business.
I was gonna say that your fiesta time has passed.
Oh, I think there's a little heat on us. Big Dick, if I didn't know any better, there's a little heat on us. But anyway,
no heat. It's just Cinco de Mayo was last week. It's we've moved on.
From what? I'm not following, Kev.
From whatever to wherever.
And we'll always be together. I think it's a song. Anyway,